Hello everyone, welcome. Today we are talking about Quant Network and we are answering the old age question, how much QNT do you need to become rich? I'm pretty sick of the question itself because it's impossible to answer. There's so many layers to the answer itself. For example, inflation, location, and situation. Firstly, let's talk about inflation. For example, $1 million was not what it was 20, 30, or 40 years ago. For example, $1 million in 1980 is worth 3.69 million today. We can also see this in terms of food, the prices even 2xing and 3xing in some cases. So, for example, I could say QNT in the far future would reach 10k per coin, but at that point, how much would milk cost? How much would a loaf of bread cost? And secondly, what's really flawed with the question, because it's so personal and individual to you, is location. Where you are placed on the planet has so much to do with how much income you earn and the cost of living within that country. For example, you can see here the top 10% of earners in Australia is $706,000 compared to Bangladesh, which would be $46,000. So to answer the question for someone in Bangladesh versus someone in Australia would be very, very different. Also in terms of income for the same jobs. In the US, for a consultant, it's nearly 3 times more than 3 times than someone living in the UK. So that makes it even more flawed. And that plays largely into situation, how many funds you have to invest in the market, whether that be every single week, every month, or just lump sums every 6 months. With all of these flaws within the question, not being able to give an answer of how much exact QNT you need, as it's so personal to you and your worldview of what rich actually is, I have a solution. A solution which I've always pointed to on the channel is the rich list for a specific asset. It is absolutely perfect. Why? Because one, it's perfect, it's individual to you as what your amount actually is, and it shows you where you are and where you need to be. For example, if you're Piranha in the 10 to 19 QNT ranges, you can set yourself the goal of moving yourself a level up to maybe this time next year as a turtle of 20 to 29 QNT. What makes it even better, it takes out location situation, because you don't even need to have that large excess of funds if you are playing the long game, because you are early with QNT. For example, if you think back to 2020, first half, 2019, we were at these single digit price points. 1000 QNT was fairly common at the time compared to now. It is considered whale status. I can imagine this happening in the near future with the 100 to 200 positions then being whales in the near future. If you have a bag set aside from your profit-taking bag, you save it, you keep it, you will slowly move up the ranks. So now we have established where you are and where you need to be, irrespective of specific amounts, more just increasing your own bag size, focusing on yourself. Let's talk about returns with this asset that we call QNT. So previous returns 2 years ago from all-time high, which was $428, was an 81x on your investment. 1 year from all-time high was a 59x on your investment. That's why I believe we're 1 year away from the bull run. I'm counting on the Bitcoin halving. When it kicks in, 2 to 3 months afterwards, the bull run usually kicks in. Then 6 months from all-time high was a, consider it, 12x. You got half of these returns. Anywhere near half of these returns, I would be a very, very happy man. Now, when we talk about Quant Network, the market cap is obviously increased, but there's so many narratives going forward, more hype than ever. Potential returns, we look at Project Rosalind, for example, right? Let me remind you of this. They're working with the BIS, owned by 63 central banks, accounting for 95% of the world's GDP. And not even that, Project Rosalind was a success, but the Bank of England are continuing to work on it, and it set an example for CBDC design all over the world, and it's shown testing and development of the overledger itself. And CBDCs are a huge use case for Quant Network. Now, people see articles like this, like King Charles III banknotes to enter circulation in mid-2024, thinking that CBDCs aren't coming. Yes, wholesale CBDCs are coming, and retail later on. Combined with the launch of the Over Ledger platform, things have never been better from Quant Network QNT, right? Accessible to large enterprises, small, medium enterprises, and developers for the first time. Focusing on developers, it's allowing developers to create multi-chain, multi-network smart contracts without the need for prior blockchain knowledge. Further down, we can see it is expected that the value of tokenized assets will reach $4 trillion by 2030, but businesses are scrambling to hire the right expertise or a plethora of developers to capitalize on the opportunity presented by this new technology. We've spoken about Quant Network's tokenization solutions. It is a huge market, that with CBDCs and so many others. This is allowing for more interoperability, secure smart contracts, a new benchmark for enterprise blockchain, and the most important thing being ease of use. I'm going to leave you guys with a 5-minute video, arguably longer than the video I just made, of Gilbert, the team, explaining the platform itself in more and better detail than I ever could. But that's pretty much it for today's video. To answer the question, there is not a specific amount that to become rich with QNT, because it's so dependent on you as an individual, to your location, your situation, and how much you view as rich. I didn't want to get into that because that's even more personal than the information provided. Look where you are on the rich list. Look where you want to be or where you need to be. That is the best way to gauge things of where or how much QNT you actually need. But if you made this far in the video, thank you very much for watching. Please leave a like down below, and I'll see you guys in the next one.
The current form of money that we have today is obsolete. We've been using the same system for centuries. What we need is a new form of money that is fit for the future.
We believe that blockchain technology is the future of finance, bringing trust and transparency to any transaction. In payments, its programmability allows banks and payment firms to innovate for their customers. While in capital markets, tokenization of all kinds of asset classes is connecting issuers to deep pools of entirely new investors.
The impact of blockchain to finance is actually just as big as the impact of the internet to society. It really is transformative and changing the entire underlying architecture and the infrastructure of what we use today. Blockchain allows us to have smart money. Smart money allows us to program new types of logic, new types of functionality into money to do things that is really fit for purpose for the 21st century.
But there's a problem. Blockchain is often costly and complex to implement properly, and most enterprises lack the specialist knowledge required.
Each of the blockchain technologies is really complicated, and it's quite a niche skill, right? They were only invented a few years ago. There's not millions of developers that know this.
It's a new nascent technology that's hugely transformative, but difficult to integrate and difficult to bring into any financial institution.
Its usefulness is undermined by a lack of common standards, the inability of assets deployed on one blockchain to run on another, and the fact that bridges between networks and poorly written smart contracts can be exploited.
I founded Quant with the vision of really changing the entire architecture of our financial system. The pain points that everyone faced with blockchain technology was a barrier to its adoption. And so we set out very early on to remove all the friction, change all the perceptions of blockchain, and make it easy to integrate into any corporate or enterprise system.
Until now, we've been applying our expertise in standards, interoperability, and secure smart contracts to a few transformational projects. We've worked on national infrastructure in Italy, a cross-border payments network in Latin America, and most recently on Project Rosalind.
Project Rosalind is our collaboration with the Bank of England and the Bank of International Settlement to understand and test with the industry what a retail central bank digital currency looks like.
On the infrastructure side, we hosted the blockchain, we built the smart contracts, we exposed the smart contracts to a kind of a back-end API, so there's the technical work. And we're also involved in kind of building the requirements, right? So we spent a lot of time in workshops with all of the other folks in the project, building out how should this work. So there's a lot of detail in that. So in terms of participation, we put a lot of expertise into the project, we put a lot of experience into the project, and then we did all the technical work as well.
What we learned was there's a way we can make money, a digital pound, for example, smart. We saw firsthand participants like the Central Bank of Canada, Amazon, Barclays, MasterCard use this innovative escrow technology that we built to create new types of payments and new types of flows.
We're proud to announce that the same interoperable technology, the same expertise in blockchain and secure smart contracts, the same commitment to security and resilience that has underpinned all of our work to date is now available to anyone with the launch of Overledger Platform.
We're launching Overledger Platform as the enterprise standard for building on blockchain. We've taken all the experience and work that we've done for the Bank of England, Bank of International Settlement, and opened that up for the rest of the industry to use.
By using Overledger between their technology and the blockchains, they've got a standardized API layer that translates all of the messages that are needed, which means that people can build faster, they can build more securely, they can build without hiring external developers, they can use their existing in-house developers. And not only that, they can connect their existing technologies. So rather than building a whole new platform, take the platform you've got and build a blockchain module for it using Overledger. You could get to market 3, 6, 9 times faster depending on your use case.
Blockchain projects need this kind of technology. It makes the projects faster, it makes them cheaper, and it makes them last a lot longer once they're built. So Overledger Platform is just a massive enabler.
Overledger is a game changer because it allows people to connect to blockchains without knowing anything about them. We have all of our APIs in a business language, so you don't have to have any expertise in blockchain to be able to connect to them. It just makes it super easy and super simple.
It's our way of creating mass adoption of the technology. It's an enterprise way to access this new innovative technology without having all the friction and the barriers and the challenges that come with it.